your seats. The show is about to begin.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 Tune in to TLS. Yeah, tune in to TLS. It's the TLS show. Coming to you live from the TLS show.
Hey, welcome to the Truth Lies Shenanigans podcast, social commentary, hot topics, amazing guests with a ton of fun and shenanigans along the way. This week's podcast is the last show of Black History Month, and we're talking about Malcolm X as his family just decided to sue the federal government and NYPD for $100 million, claiming they conspired in his assassination. Then we're talking about Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for a national divorce of red and blue states. And we're wondering if Don Lemon's comments about presidential candidate Nikki Haley is actually helping her presidential bid. And Harvey Weinstein, he got some more jail time. Before we get into our podcast, I got to introduce you to my amazing co-host. First up, our college student model, business owner, streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, Johnny Storm.
Hey guys, thank you so much. I've been working a whole lot this week. So I've also had like a slew of migraines, unfortunately, but I think it's because of like the excess work. So I'm thinking about investing in a new pillow or like a nice, I think that'll help my sleep.
You're saying you got migraines from excessive work and you want to get a new pillow.
Yes. Yeah, because it's coming from my neck.
Don't underestimate the value of a good pillow, Johnny, because Joe and I invested heavily in our pillows. When we tell people how much we spent on our pillows, they kind of go, what? But the quality of sleep that you get from it, it's worth the investment. I'm telling you.
Good. It's worth it.
It's
that
like
and a good bed.
Yeah.
Like a good mattress too.
Yeah, because you need.
But yeah, Neo, I put those two things together because I like feel the tension in my neck, and I'm like, ew, that has to do with my pillows. I'm always doubling up the pillows or scrunching them. So
Fair enough.
That's where that logic.
I got to admit, I mean, I have an issue with my neck. I have like a bulging disc in my neck, and from time to time it pinches on one of the nerves, and so pillows are very, very important to that. So I would definitely suggest a good pillow and a nice bed. I got a Tempur-Pedic bed, and that crap. Never get a Tempur-Pedic.
Yes, it's a life changer. But I've been doing good. Other than that, spring is almost in the air, so I'm excited about that. But I've been doing good. Been working hard.
Good. Your car is still there?
My car is good. It's nice. Nobody's touched it. No little kids have broken in this time.
Oh, man.
All right, cool. All right.
It's all good.
All right, good.
In the hood, literally.
All right. So next up, we have our nature lover, gamer, rock star coming to you from Ontario, Canada, Mr. Rob B. Rob.
What's up, everyone? It's great to be back for another week. I had another great, productive week. It's still very much winter up here, more cold, more snow. But my wife and I looked out the window one night, and it was so pretty. It was dark, the big fluffy snowflakes were coming down, and it was just so gentle. It looked very picturesque. We said, we'll enjoy a wonderful evening walk. So we bundled up, we went out. And it was very pleasant until we turned around to come back, and the breeze was just so chilly on any exposed part of skin. It was just
freezing.
Too cold.
You literally throw your face off.
We had nice rosy cheeks when we got in. But Joe and I actually we finished watching Andor on Disney Plus just during our dinner times. And man, I gotta say, we really enjoyed the series, and subsequently we watched Rogue One when we were done because it was well done. We enjoyed it.
Oh wow.
Andor's pretty.
Yeah, you guys like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're nerds.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a nice.
Yeah. No, Andor's a pretty good series. And Rogue One, again, one of my best,
Yeah.
one of my favorite
Mhm.
Star Wars movies.
TPK.
All right.
That's a D&D
I have
reference
no idea.
completely lost on you, man.
D&D. No,
Total
yeah.
party kill.
Okay, you're right. Lost
TPK.
it.
Total party kill.
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea what's being said.
Micah, did you
Everyone
catch
was
that
just
one?
kind of nodding
Nerds.
politely with blank eyes.
I'm
Just,
not a
Right.
I'm not a D&D person.
Okay.
I'm not a D&D person, but
Yeah, that's
fine.
I did go.
You're in your own realm with D&D.
Yeah, I did go.
I've heard of it.
I did go to the park today with my family, and my wife was taken aback because she was like, "What is going on?" And I said, "Well, honey, these are LARPers. It was a group of LARPers out
nice.
there,
Oh, really?
just having fun.
Cool.
Yeah, man, and live action role playing for
Ooh.
those who
Mhm.
want to know.
You guys
And
got to see it.
yeah, it was very cool, and my son was very curious, and you know, I got to tell him about grown-ups, you know, just kind of having fun, not taking life so serious. You know?
All right. And
Exactly.
that deep, smooth voice you're
Doing what they
listening
love.
to, that's our special guest returning today from from the amazing Nerd Apocalypse and Black on Black Cinema podcast. It's Micah.
What go?
It's
Micah.
it's wonderful to be back, folks. I really enjoy this show, and you always have. I mean, this is going to sound like I'm patting myself on the back, but you always have amazing guests on. People who actually, yeah, I mean, like people who like actually do stuff instead of just
Yeah.
take pictures of toys and stuff in the background. So I'm very happy to be part of this in
We-
some small way.
We
Thank you,
definitely
Micah.
appreciate you. We're going to have to get you back to
Yeah.
do some movies, though, at some
Always.
point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And of course, I am your host, Neo Nick.
Neo.
So yesterday, I came back from Florida, right? I went to Florida for a wedding that I was not
Yes.
invited to. So my wife's
Go on.
so my wife's longtime friend got married, right? But he didn't give her a +1. Now he definitely knows we're married, obviously, because he was
Oh,
at my
no.
wedding, right? So definitely knows she's married. She did
That's
ask him
weird.
about the +1, and he was like, "It's a small wedding. It's for family. Sorry about that." But yeah, I was like, "Okay, whatever." I'm not a big wedding person, so I wasn't too mad. I get it. And if it's really tight,
Yeah.
you got to make some tough decisions. And the thing is, my wife and I, we don't like to travel alone, so we're like each other's travels buddies. So
Yeah.
I flew down, and mind you, this was on a work day. I even chauffeured her to the event, got in the hotel,
Ooh.
and she was partying, but I was back at the hotel. But come to find out, his wedding was bigger than mine. I was like,
Mm.
now when I found that out, I
Mhm.
felt a bit snubbed, right? I was like, okay. So I wanted to throw it out to you guys. So you're having a wedding, but the person you want to invite is married. Are you supposed to give them a +1? Or is it cool to just invite your friend or whoever it is? Are you
We
supposed-
guess it-
for our wedding.
Subjective. Depends on who the +1 is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But generally
does.
speaking, yes. But if that +1 is going to be a negative element on your day, no.
Okay. What were we saying, Mike?
I was at your wedding. It was a lovely affair. It also wasn't small. So,
Ooh,
so
Exactly.
it could have had one extra person. I think we had a similar situation where we told everyone, if you're not married, you can't bring somebody.
Exactly.
If you are in a
Okay.
long-term relationship
Mm-hmm.
but haven't put a ring on it,
Mm-hmm.
that person can't come.
Yep.
Now, if you're married,
That's
like
fair.
that,
That's what I always
Right,
thought. I mean, because when
'cause,
you're
like-
married, you're together, right? That's like one
Right.
person, right? Basically.
Or like a long-term partner, like a partner. Maybe you're not married, but you've been
Nope.
together. No.
Nope.
No, I'm with him
Nope.
on that.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
Nope, because I got to pay for that meal.
Why,
Pay for
guys?
it.
I don't want to pay for that meal, and then all of a sudden y'all break up next week.
Mhm. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's a potential meal.
So let me ask you
It's
this.
a potential
Let me ask you
meal.
this real quick. If you don't get a +1 and you're married, should you decline?
I
If you
would
love your
probably
spouse.
decline.
I think that's difficult.
I mean, so
No, I don't think you should
you don't
decline,
think
but
you
you
should
should
decline?
talk it over.
Okay.
You
Okay.
should talk it over with your spouse. Yeah.
All right. So just to be clear, I was the one who insisted she go. So but I was just curious about the
Aw.
etiquette. I was just curious what the etiquette was on that because
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, where was that +1? But anyway, uh, I see Jacqueline
That
Ross
is
said if it's a
strange.
catered event, you should let the host know well in advance. All right, good. All right, good.
Yes.
I get it.
Okay.
Now. So you guys, most
I don't
of you
know.
guys agree with me a little.
Could have
But-
shown up and just brought your own Subway or something.
I thought about it. I said,
Like I
"Oh,
don't
God,
have
actually."
to eat.
I don't eat. I just want to be there.
You're not feeding me. I'm just here
Yeah.
for the dancing and the music. I'll buy the drinks too.
Moral support.
Jack Robinson also said, like Neo, I also had a lavish wedding, and it's amazing how etiquette isn't taught anymore. 100%.
True that.
That's
All
true.
All right. Enough of that. Let's get into our show. So for Black History Month, we've been doing spotlights on Black excellence. Well, this past week, on the anniversary of Malcolm X's assassination, his family decided to sue the FBI, CIA, NYPD for their alleged role in his assassination. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to revisit that history, the conspiracy theories, and also talk about this lawsuit. All right. So Malcolm X was assassinated on February 21st, 1965, when he was just 39 years old. He was shot while preparing to give a speech at the Audubon Ballroom in New York City. For those that may not know who Malcolm X was, be surprised, but there's a few people out there who may not know. He was a Black religious leader, a spokesman for the Nation of Islam, and a civil rights activist who spoke about the need for Black empowerment and equality. But he believed the way to achieve equality was, as he says, by any means necessary. He felt to effect aggressive change, it required an aggressive approach. And he was definitely not a supporter of desegregation. So he was no doubt a controversial figure with both white and Black people, especially because his teachings were opposite to his counterpart, Martin Luther King Jr., who, of course, preached nonviolence and integration. But because of his rise to power in the Black community, the FBI and CIA saw him as a threat. And FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had the FBI all over him, much like MLK before his assassination. I'm actually showing a document that J. Edgar Hoover signed. I recommend that authority be granted to install a technical surveillance at the residence of Malcolm X Little. Crazy. All right, so there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind why Malcolm X was assassinated. But here's what we do know. All right, a year before his assassination, Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam for several reasons. For one, he became disillusioned with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was the leader of the Nation of Islam at the time. Malcolm claimed a lot of improprieties were going on, like illegitimate children, stealing money, etc. And what sparked him actually leaving was Malcolm went against a mandate from Elijah Muhammad to not speak about JFK's death, which led to Malcolm X's suspension and ultimately him choosing to leave altogether. Now, after leaving, Malcolm went to Africa and the Middle East to spend time with Muslims there. And he came back way more enlightened, right? And his teachings were very different after that. He began speaking out against Elijah Muhammad, and that started to create a rift in the Nation of Islam. A lot of people claim that Elijah Muhammad ordered that Malcolm, quote, not be touched, but there were also rumors that he directly ordered a hit on Malcolm. Rumors that he was apparently aware of because a week before his death, his family was attacked with Molotov cocktails thrown in his window while they slept, In an interview with reporters, Malcolm said, "I live like a man who is already dead."
Mm.
So here's what happened on February 21st at the Audubon Ballroom in New York. Malcolm was greeted his audience. Sorry, Malcolm greeted his audience from the podium, and there was a commotion in the back of the room. A man shouted, "Get your hands out of my pocket." That man lit a rolled up sock and threw the makeshift smoke bomb into the floor. Malcolm's security moved on the stage, deserting their post. Malcolm raised his arms and was like, now, brothers, break it up." Then one of the assassins rushed to the podium and shot Malcolm in the chest with a sawed-off shotgun.
Mm.
Malcolm fell. At the same time, two accomplices came to the edge of the stage and shot him in the ankle and both thighs.
Mm.
All three of them retreated into the crowd. Two escaped, but one of his bodyguards managed to shoot one of them, Talmadge Hayer, who goes by Mujahid Abdul Halim. He was captured and later confessed to killing Malcolm X. He spent 45 years in prison and was released on parole in 2010. But Hayer insisted that the two men who were ultimately arrested and jailed as his accomplices, Malcolm Aziz and Muhammad Aziz and Khalil Islam, he claimed that they were innocent. Both were members of the Nation of Islam. Actually, in 1977, Hayer actually fingered four men by name who he said worked with him. And there were the two other gunmen and two other accomplices in the audience. But the police ultimately did nothing with that information. Now, as far as the two men who were wrongly convicted, Islam was paroled in 1987 and died in 2009. Aziz was paroled in 1985, and he's actually still alive. All right, so those are the facts. So why are we here? Why does Malcolm's daughters and attorney Benjamin Crump want to sue now, a half century later? Well, in addition to all of the conspiracy theories that the FBI, CIA, NYPD both helped plan the attack and work to cover it up, well, in 2021, Aziz and Islam, the two people convicted of killing Malcolm, were exonerated and given a $36 million settlement because they found authorities held back evidence, including revealing that an undercover NYPD officer had infiltrated Malcolm's inner circle and that he was present for the murder. His role was kept secret and he was never interviewed. It's believed that they not only infiltrated Malcolm's inner circle, but also Elijah Muhammad's and the Nation of Islam, possibly actually orchestrating the assassination and the cover-up. So the exoneration opened the door to the family to file a lawsuit, get money, and potentially get further evidence on the role of the FBI, CIA, NYPD. All right, so after all of that, here's my question. Benjamin Crump is all over the place with these lawsuits related to civil rights violation, and he's making a ton of money on these settlements. Now, as much as is deserved by the daughters of Malcolm X, right? Very much deserved if they were to receive the $100 million, right? My question is, do you think they can actually prove the conspiracy? Will the lawsuit have any impact on civil rights today, or is this just headlines and a money grab?
I mean, I think it's a little more complicated than, I know why you framed it that way, but I think it's a little more complicated than just a money grab. At the same time, I'm having difficulty, unless they have some sort of smoking gun evidence.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, like that they're just kind of waiting to play like a big joker in a spades game. You know what I mean?
Right,
I
big
don't
joke.
know if
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a case. Now there is something to the effect of going through all of this to make a point,
Mhm.
even if you know you're not going to
Right.
win,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
To say that
Right.
stuff like this will come back to get you.
Mhm.
But I just don't. I talked to my wife about this. She's a lawyer and she's very much like into this, and she's the same way. She I can't think of like I said, unless there's some sort of evidence that they know they have, I find this to be a bit frivolous.
Yeah, I'm with you on
But
that.
with the exoneration of Islam and Aziz, it's, based on the fact that there were documents that were withheld. So what else has been withheld? What other information haven't we been privy to?
Right.
So I think that there's merit
Exactly.
in this exercise to try to uncover those truths, because if there was collusion between these agencies to assassinate a prominent, controversial figure at the time, I mean, that wouldn't be outside of the norm to think that, or to know that the FBI, CIA, NYPD, that these forces would have worked together to quell someone like Malcolm
Take
X.
out
But if they
something.
don't already have the access
Oh, I'm
to
not
the
denying
evidence,
that.
right? But wait a minute, if they don't already have access to the evidence, then what makes them think the federal government is going to give them the evidence to make their case for them? I mean, they're not going to get any
Well, maybe
additional
they
evidence.
do. Maybe they do have some evidence that we don't know of, because for them to claim that,
have
to even state the case, other than what Micah said, where he said maybe they're trying to state a point. I don't know what point they would be stating, because like you said, Neil, this is decades later. So there may not be a point to prove other than maybe exposing something. So they have to have some type of viable evidence to expose with. And I feel
Do they?
like,
I mean, what evidence is there that we wouldn't have already seen?
maybe there's
And
another
what
key
evidence?
player, like you mentioned, the cop,
I mean, unless
the police
they have
officer.
someone that's willing, to testify, I have to believe that
Yeah.
if this is a conspiracy on the federal level, I have to believe that any evidence has been destroyed.
Yeah,
This is the FBI. This isn't like your
any true
local
evidence.
PD.
Yeah.
Like, this is, that's what these people do. They're spies, and I have to believe that any type of evidence of this conspiracy would have been destroyed decades ago. I mean, I may be wrong.
Or
Can't imagine
heavily
Hoover keeping stuff
redacted.
like that.
Heavily redacted,
Right.
where you see that
I'm
sheet with.
agreed.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. But to deduct, I mean, to deduct like reasoning, I don't think that they would start a case for shock value or for monetary gain. I mean, I'm sure that they are looking for money. I'm sure they're looking for money for other reasons, but I don't think it's like a cash grab situation. I think that Malcolm X is legendary, and I think that this means a lot to a lot of people, and the family, especially the daughters. I don't know how old they are, I'm sorry, but I think that they know it would mean a lot to expose some type of truth that they could have. I agree with you guys, though. It's far-fetched to believe that they have anything viable because of who they're up against. I agree. I mean, that's a no-brainer, but
Well, I mean, I would
I don't
agree
know.
with
I
you
have
that.
faith they might have some.
I don't think this is a cash grab per se. I mean, again, if they were to get $100 million, they deserve it. I mean, and we find out that the government was involved, which they probably were. At least NYPD was probably involved in
They were.
at least in the cover up. I mean, that was clear in the $36 million case with Aziz and I forget his name now.
Islam.
Yeah, Islam, Aziz and Islam, right? So, but I do feel like this still is about headline, right? Because, I feel like Benjamin Crump is starting to take advantage of these opportunities. I honestly wish he wasn't attached to be honest.
Oh, it's him behind all of this?
I wish it was someone else,
I
because
should
then
have known.
I could feel more comfortable with the fact that, hey, this is just the family going after, going after the federal government for their role. But it really does feel like some headlines, money, but I think that the daughters do deserve, some type of retribution. I like what Micah was saying, because, I don't think this is going to really help the civil rights movement at all in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But I still think it's vindication. And vindication is
Yes.
worth something.
That vindication would mean something to the civil rights movement, and depending on how that money is
Okay.
allocated, Because
a good
100
point.
million is a big chunk of money,
Okay.
so this could be substantial for the civil rights movement.
That's fair if the money was used a certain way.
Fair.
That's fair. I'd agree with that.
So look, I'm not
Why do you think it's a cash
against
grab?
the investigation.
Go ahead, Michael.
I'm not against the investigation. I'm just I'm not hopeful of a victory.
Neither am I.
And
Fair.
I mean, even if we get like a Pyrrhic victory where it's like y- anything is exposed, like they don't win, but like something comes of it, I'd be satisfied with that. But
Right.
yeah,
Me
I,
too.
I don't, I don't, yeah, I just am having a hard time believing that. Also, like, I'm glad you brought it up, Neil, because I didn't want to say it, but like, sometimes I get the feeling that like Benjamin Crump is a little bit of an ambulance chaser.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing this work pro bono. If not, then I don't know. It just feels
Even if he's
icky.
not doing it pro bono, just the headlines enough builds his stature well enough where he can go out and have his own Ben Crump law firm, and it still builds his wealth significantly just being attached to it.
I'm curious.
Absolutely.
What makes you guys think that? What makes you guys think that Benjamin Crump is kind of after like the fame of it all, or after it for the wrong reason? Like,
Just
what
because
gives
he's
you that?
attached to literally every one of these civil rights cases that have come up. I mean, he's 90% of them in the last 5 years or whatever it is. I think. What was his first one?
Yeah, he has.
Was his first one Trayvon?
Yeah, I think Trayvon
I
Martin
I
was
think
his
his first one was Trayvon. So I think since that one, he's been attached to virtually all of them since then. And so I just know I feel like I like the term ambulance chaser, and I agree with you, Micah. I don't think they really have a case. I mean, the exonerated men absolutely had a case because they were wrongly convicted, and there was the prosecutors didn't do their job to ensure that he was wrong. He had the evidence to properly to not convict them, right? So they didn't provide the evidence they were supposed to. They didn't do their jobs. They did things wrong. So that's an easy case, and they should have won, especially once they were able to prove it.
Right.
I just don't think there's any evidence here that they would be able to come up with, or that they have existing, where they can say the government conspired. I don't know.
And Jacqueline Robinson brings up an interesting point online. It's just given the passage of time, fuzzy memories, deceased witnesses, etc., the truth probably will never be known.
Yeah. And Mike Brennan says every
Yeah.
time
That's a
there's
good-
been racial progressive movement in this country, it's been encountered with violence. Maybe they have contacted Trump rather than the other way around. That's possible. Good point. That was
Yeah.
Mike
That's
Brennan.
very possible too.
Yeah.
Because that's it. He is high profile, so
Yes.
It's possible. I still think he is chasing down all of these. I really wish it was someone else attached to it. All right. We got
So-
like 30 seconds. Any final thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not saying, and just to kind of put a bow on this Ben Crump thing, I'm not saying that he's not doing good work. I'm just saying,
Agree with you.
Right.
I'm glad somebody is doing it.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I don't know.
How is he doing it?
So-
Is a question.
The work needs
Yeah.
to be done, and like you said, somebody's doing it.
I wish more people would step up to the plate to help out. I think
that's what I'm Maybe that's what I'm saying.
that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, maybe I'm feeling the same
Yeah.
thing you're feeling. All right.
it shouldn't be just one guy.
Yeah, all the time, right?
Right.
All right. So
He's
is
like the
this,
superhero.
is this truth live?
Shenanigans.
I mean, it's full of a bunch of
Truth?
It's the
truth and
there's
lies and shenanigans.
I mean, there's a lot.
Maybe it's a
It's all of it.
shenanigans too.
There's,
I mean, they're
there's
all over the
all
place.
three of them.
The government. I mean, I honestly think I have no doubt in my mind that the government was doing something crazy. Was definitely involved.
It's all three of them today. Yeah.
Yep.
J. Edgar Hoover was crazy. J. Edgar Hoover was absolutely.
Well, Speaking of crazy,
All right. Let me get to it.
segues.
Nice segue. All right.
Lies, shenanigans.
All right, Micah. Gianni's good friend down there in Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, wants a divorce. Tell us what's going
My
on.
friend? Why she gotta be my friend?
Yeah, Gianni's friend down
You
there in
moved
Georgia.
there. You moved there.
Oh man, so yeah,
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, the representative from Georgia, she tweeted, because this is how we get our news now, tweets. She tweeted, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this, so it's obviously a good idea.
Of
From the
course.
sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America Last policies, we're done." Um, I would read the rest of the tweet, but I'm deeply offended by some of the things in it. But her big idea is to separate blue states and red states, and we each kind of govern the way we see fit, and the federal government is just kind of there as like a last resort. I don't think this
Sounds
is a good
terrible.
idea. Yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. I guess my questions are we okay with segregation now? Because that's what this is, right? This is segregation.
Yeah.
If in some crazy world this were to happen, this sounds like the Confederacy, right? Like this sounds like the Civil War, which everyone
Right.
is making these comparisons, and she's like, "Oh no, it's not the Civil War," and blah blah blah. I mean, it is. And my last question is, what if you are a conservative in a blue state, like she is, by the way, like Georgia's blue now? Or what do you
I don't
do if
know
you?
about that.
I mean, technically,
Exactly.
It's getting close to
you know,
purple, but
Purple.
just a
and
shade
what if
more magenta.
and vice
Yeah.
versa? Like, what happens? What happens if you're in a state that you are not politically aligned with? What do you do?
Right.
Worship.
I
Man.
mean, this is there are also, this is lunacy. This is lunacy to me, and it's not just lunacy
Yeah.
to me. This is lunacy to other Republicans. Liz Cheney
Yes.
basically said, "Hey, this is against the Constitution. You people are all about
Right.
like, constitutional fundamentalists. This is literally against the Constitution." Mitt Romney said that this is ludicrous. There was another GOP senator
Took
from
a stab at
Utah.
her.
Yeah, man. This is lunacy.
Barbie.
What also, like, if we were to do this, like one of the things about racism is that rich white people have convinced poor white people that poor other minorities are the problem, and it's not.
Yeah.
Nah, man. because rich people want to stay rich, and they don't care who they step on.
Wait, I was gonna let
And
Robbie jump in, but now I gotta jump
It's
in.
true.
go ahead. I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump, they're all about appealing to idiots, right? So we're making all these, we're going to make all these intelligent arguments of why it's stupid. The truth is, stupid people are the ones listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump. You know, you try to have these same discussions with Trump supporters, you might as well be speaking Chinese or whatever. Especially, if we start talking big words like secession, unconstitutional, fiscally conservative, and they're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" I don't even know what you're talking about. But you go,
Like,
you grunt at him and say, "Me like divorce, me like divorce, blue and red," and
that's so messed
me
up.
build a wall. It totally makes sense to them. They
I
get it.
love that you went with like a Neanderthal voice for this. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Literally.
Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, they know how to speak the language of stupid. So they that's what they tapped into. They tapped into dumb people who really have no idea how the country's run. You know, they don't understand economics or basically anything about how this country's run. You know, and it's surprisingly a lot of people. I'm
Surprisingly,
shocked
yeah.
by how many people are this
Yes.
But let's be honest. Part of it is that
There are a lot.
MTG is angry that her husband divorced her, and part of her is lashing out.
Divorce.
Well, it's true, man. He filed. But to me, it seems that she's really riding the anti-woke wagon and maybe trying to get a VP pick from Trump out of this, because she is absolutely his lackey. Absolutely his lackey. She is happy to dive head on into that demographic and will just spout whatever nonsense will appeal to them. Hey, you know, don't worry, if you're in a red state, your values will be enshrined. They'll be protected. If you're in a blue state, they'll be enshrined. They'll be protected. But practically, you know, it makes no sense, because when you look at the federal government infrastructure, well, that's all blue. And if you look at where most of the federal relief goes, that's mostly red. So already,
it's like 9 out of the 10 states.
You're not talking stupid. They're not going to understand that. You got to.
It's like 9 out of the 10 states who need federal relief are red states, and all these blue states are pouring money into it to help, like, because that's how a union works. I just it's so frustrating, man.
It is.
Right. And she was on Hannity saying it just recently, you know, the last thing I ever want to see in America is a civil war. But she's okay with attending rallies with white Christian nationalists like Nick Fuentes, where even even her people are saying, ooh, yeah, she should have walked out real quickly from that event. But she's happy with that brand. She seems to thrive in that demographic, and that's scary, because that ignorance, that fear, that hate mongering does not lead to a good place. If we want to jump back, I don't know, 200 some years, okay, maybe this is the conversation that we're having. But no, your forefathers learned from it, and the United States of America, that's where it's at for you.
Exactly. And it's all, I mean, we laugh at her, and some of the things she says is like antics, and she believes QAnon, or however they're pronounced. And it's funny in a media sort of way, but just to believe and know that I'm in Georgia and she's a lawmaker here, or she has, that type of power and potential. Many, like Micah said, a few of the heavy hitters don't agree with her, and most people shouldn't, because it is unconstitutional. But it's just to even that type of mindset is just very scary, going back to segregation. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like if we've learned anything in politics, it's like we can work together. The blue and the red states, the different sides, they can work together and create some really good solutions. But it's still this separation that they want to have, and this hate and this weird ass mindset. I just can't wait for these type of people to be gone. Like on both ends, like on both the Democrats, Republicans, liberals, just wipe the slate clean. Like I told you guys last time, we need to just do like
a do-over,
infrastructure change. The leaders, just get them up.
Johnny, do you ever drive out to the country in Georgia?
I have. Remember, I did the voting thing, so I had to go to some of the
how was that?
Republican
areas. Just out of curiosity, did you feel uncomfortable?
Very, very. I felt very uncomfortable. You saw a lot of Confederate flags. You saw a lot of, even besides that, you just got the tone that you maybe weren't familiar or welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
But people usually, I can slide by a lot of things. I'm adaptable, but I could tell that they were like pushed off from me, or what is it called? Like closed off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They didn't really want to talk with me and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I lived in North Carolina for a little while, and I every time I go down south, I'm always worried if I get pulled over, what's going to happen? I don't. It's a tough feeling to deal with. But with that being said, I mean,
it's stressful.
Robbie, you made the point of the VP pick. I wanted to kind of like talk about. I mean, I don't know that Trump taking her as a VP would be smart. It doesn't make sense because they're tapping into the same
No.
demographic. Tapping
That's why he
into
would
the
do
same
it.
group. You think so? You think he would do it?
Right.
That's why he would do it. Yeah, that's what, because he's a narcissist. He's an egomaniac. He doesn't care. He knows that this might be his last ride, and he likes the adulation. He likes the, come and he likes the fight.
Yeah.
He lives for that
Yeah.
stuff. To call
Yeah.
people names and stuff like that, and she's just like it. And he would have a great time. I don't think he cares. He even said when he was president, he was like, I made a lot more money before I became president. He likes to fight. One of his first speeches, I remember, he said, guys, I can't believe it. I'm the president of the United States, because he wasn't expecting to win.
He wasn't.
And I don't think he would be,
Sad.
I don't necessarily think that, I think he's like the Joker, man. He's like a dumb Joker. He just wants to watch the world burn. And he found his Harley Quinn. And it's a scary thought, man, because if they do link up,
I'm not really worried though, because if they do link up, I'm already not worried.
I don't know,
I'm not too
man.
worried. The reason I say
don't know,
that is
man.
because if it wasn't for Pence allowed him to legitimize himself to the the middle
to the rest of the Democrats.
the rest of the Republicans. So he was able to bring the rest of the Republican Party along with these crazies. I think if he brings in Marjorie Taylor Greene, he's got nothing but crazies, and there's just not enough for the crazies. There's just not enough crazy. I don't think he'll get the support of the rest of the Republican Party. So I don't think it'd be smart for him to
Like
bring,
last time, right?
but it would be smart for someone else to bring in Marjorie Taylor Greene so they can tap into that Trump group, those Trumpers.
Yeesh.
It'd be smart for DeSantis or somebody else to bring in Marjorie Taylor Greene so they can tap into those Trumpers. That would be the smart.
That's another pairing that's very scary to me.
That's the scary pairing to me, actually. Because DeSantis
That's
is
a weird combo. Yeah.
actually in that. I mean, like you say, Trump is just a narcissist. But DeSantis,
DeSantis is smart.
he's doing it. He knows what he's doing.
He's
not just-
calculated. Yeah.
Exact calculating.
Yeah.
That's a very good word. All right. Got a bunch of comments online. So we got Jacqueline Robinson. Kevin McCarthy needs to curb his dog. And national divorce worked out so well for the red states, particularly the South years ago. Those
Oh my
states
God.
from the of blue states and federal government. Sick of it. He says, like most fascists, he and IQ 45, Trump, test their ideas by saying them out loud to see what they can get away with. And mainstream media are more
Right.
than happy to amplify this dangerous rhetoric.
Yeah.
Agree with that. All right, is this truth? Lies.
Lies, shenanigans.
Man, this is a
These
bunch of
are
shenanigans.
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 lies.
Yeah.
Shenanigans.
It's a lie because she thinks it's a good idea.
All right, let's get the
She's
next.
horrible.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Nikki Haley.
All
Apparently,
right.
according to Don Lemon, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is a spring chicken, and Nikki Haley is past her prime.
Well, yeah, Don Lemon is back on the network less than a week after arguing on air that 2024 Republican presidential candidate Nimrata Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime. So during a discussion about the age of politicians, that the 56-year-old CNN This Morning co-host Don Lemon said that the 51-year-old Nikki Haley was not in her prime, and said that a woman is not considered in her, or that a woman is considered in her prime in her 20s, 30s, and maybe her 40s. So when his co-host Poppy Harlow challenged him on this,
Bullshit.
he added, "Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying what the facts are. Google it." Okay, so after these statements, Lemon was not on air for the following show and did not return until Wednesday of this week. So now, without skipping a beat, Nikki Haley's PR team clapped back with the following tweet. "For all of you who took issue with the haters saying that we are past our prime, this one's for you." And it included images of beer cozies stamped with her campaign logo and the phrases, pass my prime with a question mark, and hold my beer. So now, did Don Lemon's attack on Nikki Haley's age inadvertently provide her with a winning presidential campaign strategy?
Gianni,
I think it provided her
I
with
fear
a
so.
campaign strategy. I don't know if it would be a winning
winning one.
campaign strategy.
Right.
Like
Good point.
feel
Good
like
point, Mike.
I feel like she is gonna. I feel like she's just gonna ride this thing as long as she
Yeah.
can, to the point where people will realize, wait, you're not talking about anything else, and she's she's not trying to get the crazy. She's trying to get like reasonable Republicans.
Mhm.
So if
Right.
she is going to if this is the thing that she's gonna like hang her hat on, no, you gotta come with something else.
I mean, I think all of this talk of ageism around Nikki Haley it's made me like interested in her. Well, not interested, but just curious. I'm sure others as well. Like, so you're right. I think that just this talk of it from, I think even last week we talked about her and the whole 75 and up cognitive test.
Yes, because she wants to bring the
for
competency
politicians.
testing, the competency tests for politicians age
Competency.
75 or 75 or over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually,
so she's
just
doing
wanna
her
say-
thing. I mean, all publicity.
I just want to say, Jacqueline Robinson said, Nikki Haley opened that door when she made Biden's agent. So, to Gianni's point.
I mean,
No,
I understand that, but this is a look. The ageism thing is I agree with her. I think that competency tests should be taken. I don't think we should limit it to 75. I want my politicians
Right.
smart.
So Robbie
I
said.
don't care what
Yep.
age they are. I want them all to be smarter than me. And so I'm all for the competency test. Just do it at any age. Start it at 35. Okay? That's when you can be president.
Yeah.
So start it at
Start it-
35.
Exactly. Start it when you're getting in the door in politics. If you're going to be a senator, if you're going to be a governor, then why shouldn't you have to prove your competency? Why wouldn't you be held to a psych eval? It's some bare minimum to show
Yeah.
that you're not crazy, that you're not there to completely undermine the system. But yeah,
But also, side note, I think Don Lemon's an idiot for saying that. I mean, even him saying to go Google it and it's facts.
Come on.
In what world? I hope you guys Googled it.
I mean,
because that's stupid.
It's stupid. It was stupid for him to say that, but I want to say 56 is probably the prime age to be a president. At that point, you've probably figured out all the dumb
Okay.
stuff you did. You've seen some crazy stuff, survived some crazy stuff. You've had some accomplishments
45?
in life. No, 50, around 50, 60. That's
40.
eh,
Like you have energy still.
I think it might be a little. I'm saying prime. I'm not saying you can't do it.
Okay,
I'm
prime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, prime.
56 is
True.
probably prime, right? And you're making much wiser decisions by that, by that point. So
Yeah.
and on top of that, you're probably sound mind, unlike perhaps our current president. But I think,
Careful.
I think this was I think this might have been I don't know. When I first read it, this is what I thought. But then Robbie, you said that he went a little further. But this is what I first thought. I think it was one of those statements that Don Lemon threw out there and was like, "Oh, that's stupid," but went with it anyway, right? Because I think I've done
Yeah.
that several times on this show, right? And y'all have caught me and been like,
What
to that
and
extent?
then I
Once
was
or
able to,
twice.
and I was able to quickly, backtrack a little bit and be like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right." Y'all have done it too. Y'all
Yeah.
have done it too. I see it's happened to you
Yeah.
guys where we just said some stupid stuff, and then we're like, "Okay,
For sure.
I mean, because
I've heard everyone else speak, and now I know what I said was maybe incorrect or misguided.
Yeah. And then people just take it the wrong way. I mean, like last week we were talking about comic book, or 2 weeks ago we were talking about comic books, right? And we're talking about collecting black comics, right? And then Robbie's like, like Pokemon, call them all. Now, I know what Robbie was saying, right? And I know the context of what we're saying, but somebody who's being an asshole could easily be like, oh, Rob B is calling black people Pokemon.
So we're a bunch of animals.
We're
a bunch of animals that only speak off something.
Collecting books. That was the analogy. Collecting books.
You're trying to collect black people, Rob? Is that it? You're trying to collect black people?
But exactly. See, that's my point. I'm not saying Don Lemon was right in what he said. I'm saying we all sometimes
That is too funny.
say stupid stuff that didn't come out of our mouths the way we intended it. So,
yeah, but he doubled down on it. And
But why
this
do
is
you
not the
keep
first-
going on?
and this is not the first time that he makes comments like this. It's not. He has a
Yeah, that's
history
not the
of
first
making
time.
comments like this, right?
That's true.
So I mean,
He's sexist.
And he doubled down. That's
well,
the thing that's causing me pause.
and then I have to wonder,
Double down.
if any. But I have to wonder if any of his experience as a gay black man, if that has helped shape some of these opinions that he has of women. Because to say that a female politician at 51 isn't in her prime is really it's a pretty crappy thing to say, given that we wouldn't say the same thing about a male politician at 51. We would say that they're in their prime at that point to hold office. Physically in their prime, hey, I'm 50. My chances in a foot race against a 20-year-old man, I know that I'm not in my prime. That's not my race. But if you get me in a game of wits against that same 20-year-old, okay, now I got wisdom, experience. And that's where those qualities really come out. But like Johnny was saying, at 50, you still have some of that stamina, some of that energy that you can devote to it. So I think that 50 is a pretty darn good age to be getting into politics. And Don Lemon's comments were completely off base. That was just awful.
Ignorant.
And to answer your question, there is a lot of support for her now. That wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
And like Gianni even said, now she's even looking into her and interested in her. So here's some comments online real quick. Mike Winter says she's an unfunny joke who needs a better dildo.
God damn.
I was not expecting that.
He also says she was dumb before, she's dumb now. Pride is irrelevant. Jacqueline Robinson, a South Asian woman who feels she needs to know to kowtow to Confederate sympathizers, needs a cognitive test herself. Good point. They all should be required to pass the U.S. citizenship test. Oh, that's interesting. Mel Blaine says he is an idiot. Robin Johnson, my birthday is Friday and I am not prime. Mike Winter, age is irrelevant compared to intelligence. Mel Blaine, everyone is different. You can't base someone on their age. It's not fair. All right. Is this truth?
This is craziness.
Oh man,
this is shenanigans. This is the old Don Lemon
A whole
coming
lot
out.
of shenanigans.
Don Lemon. You gotta do better, Don. You gotta do.
shenanigans.
You gotta do.
Oh, Mr. Lemon.
Yeah. All right. Last topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Gianni Storm. Harvey Weinstein gets a few more years tacked on. What's going on?
Yeah. So, guys, some recent news coming from Hollywood with longer prison sentences being served to the likes of predators like R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein. If you haven't heard, producer Harvey Weinstein was sentenced Thursday to 16 years in prison for rape in Los Angeles for a sexual assault trial. So the sentence will be served consecutively after a 23-year prison sentence. He's currently serving in New York for criminal sexual assault and third-degree rape. He's a horrible guy, as you can see. Weinstein has been accused by more than 100 women and has publicly come forward with allegations of sexual assault and abuse and harassment that have spanned decades. So before he was sentenced, Weinstein addressed the court, making one final plea saying, "I maintain that I'm innocent." His legal team has repeatedly stated that their client has unfairly been painted, and he's the poster boy for the Me Too movement. My question to the panel is, do you think he'll actually serve the full sentence? And does he deserve these prison sentences, in your opinion?
Well,
I don't think he'll
does
serve
he?
the full sentence because I think he'll die.
Yeah.
Okay, good
5
point.
years at best.
I mean,
Good point.
does he deserve the sentence? I mean, he claims that all of the encounters were consensual. But while we're on the topic, let's be clear about one thing. I just want to lay down one piece of life advice. Late night business
Yeah.
meetings in hotel rooms aren't a good idea, especially when one of the parties is in a position of influence or has something that the other person wants. It's compromising and it can lead to horrible
Vulnerable.
things. But that being said, I
Right.
mean, the courts have found him guilty. There have been dozens of women, scores of women who have come forward with allegations and their own stories about this creeper. So, like Micah was saying, for all intents and purposes, this is a life sentence for Mr. Weinstein.
The thing is, this guy is not
yeah.
he's not the only one. He's not a. I mean, even though
Nope.
he is the face of the Me Too movement and he is the one who everybody sees, and we really haven't seen too many other convictions since Harvey Weinstein. I mean, it's great that he's been dealt with appropriately, but he's not the only one. I mean, I'm not seeing enough happening. Actually, I know there
The
are
Jeffrey
many
Epstein.
more. There are many more going on. What were you gonna say, Mike? I think we cut you off.
No, I just yeah, he deserves it. This is one of those things where it's I'm glad he finally got brought to justice. But I don't know, man. I don't give a shit about this guy, man. Like this
Yeah.
guy can rot in jail. He can sit there till the day he dies, as far as I'm concerned. I don't
I'm
care.
with you. Yeah, the funny thing was I was more I was more interested in R. Kelly's 20 years than this dude, because R. Kelly was way worse to me because he preyed on kids, right? So you
Yeah.
know, but I have to admit I asked this question as soon as I found out about R. Kelly. I asked this question to my wife. This was when I was in Florida, actually. So I said, now that he's being punished properly, right, as he should, R. Kelly's being probably got another 20 years, and he's going to jail for a long time, maybe till he dies, right? So my question
I'm
was,
scared of your question.
is it finally okay to listen to his music again?
No.
I'm just saying. The man put out some hits. He put out some hits. Some good music back in the day. I'm
People
just
still
curious.
do.
What do you think? I mean, is it okay to listen to his music or not?
I'm usually pretty good at separating the art from the artist, but
Usually
you
me too.
know, but if the artist is like
I can't separate
pissing on
that
children,
It's tough.
I can't.
Because I
You know,
want
I
It's
like
just too many memories.
yeah, like I like
No, I was
Step
just
in the
saying
Name
that
of
it's too
Love.
many. Sorry.
I like Step in the Name of Love, but like now I'm picturing like a dude stepping with a child, and it's just like I can't.
Ew.
Wait, Johnny, get your point in?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was saying it's just like Micah said, it just brings back weird just pictures in your head when you try to listen to his music. Even the good ones, like, didn't he sing I Believe I Can Fly? Like, it's like even those classic songs, you just can't help but think there was a 15-year-old girl that this could have been inspired by. So
He produced a lot of songs too for other artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Very influential, that's true.
All right, so Robbie, you not.
I mean, I'm
listening to
just
his
glad
music
these
either.
type of
Robbie, you never listened to his music anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that.
R. Kelly.
That's hitting home. It's not really hitting home.
Robbie's like, I don't really give a fuck.
But I'm scrolling through Harvey Weinstein's IMDb entries and kind of going, shoot, there are quite a few movies on this list that I enjoy.
Oh, the
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
right? The
Oh, yeah,
Harvey
he has a
Weinstein
huge-
movies. Yeah, that's a good point. Because did we
Yeah.
boycott Harvey Weinstein movies? I don't think we did.
No.
I mean, what's one really
there's a
popular
ton
one?
of stuff.
The
Oh my
Weinstein
God.
Company produced like half of Quentin Tarantino's movie output. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
the
wow.
Weinstein Company was a big deal, which is
Very
why
prolific.
Wow.
which is why this is a big deal, because this guy was the
Okay.
producer in Hollywood,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was just taking advantage of people, for decades. You know, the whole casting couch thing, yeah, that's him,
Mm.
and that's
Yeah.
why this is so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comments online before we close it out. This is Jacqueline Robinson. What's alarming about both these cases are the number of women who are willing to help them groom girls and young women to be preyed upon.
Yes.
Mike Winter says,
Yeah.
"Man, you
Yes.
remind me of my Jeep, ain't that
That
deep?"
shocked me.
You remind me of my Jeep, ain't
That
that
shocked me.
deep? Yeah. I feel
Mm.
you guys. All right. Is this truth?
Truth,
Lies,
lies, shenanigans.
shenanigans.
Truth is being served. Lock them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
this is
think
true, man.
yeah, I'm glad that the truth has finally come out about this guy.
Truth.
Yeah.
Lock them up.
Jacqueline
Throw away
Robinson,
the
you literally
key. Burn
ruined the
them under the.
careers of several great actors. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then also the emotional scar and trauma of the women who maybe didn't make it after the situation.
All right.
Like,
And you
that's
know,
just
if you happen to be
be
the
torture.
actress who spurned him and then he destroys your career,
Yeah, he
blacklists you.
blackballed you. Yeah, you get blackballed. Like this
He-
guy was terrible, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Let's get
Wow.
into our game show. Robbie,
Slimy.
I think my wife's still online for you, so let's see.
Sweet. No, I need you.
In pre-show, Mel, Robbie was saying he hopes that you're on and help him out with this game. All right, today's game is Black Rom-Com Movie Trivia. Yes, movies like Love and Basketball, Love Jones, etc. Right?
Yes.
Real simple. The app provided by Anscape.com will give us a trivia about a black rom-com movie. Go around the horn. Each of us will answer a question, and if you get it right, you get a point. First with the most points gets the final thought for the show. All right. I think we're gonna start with Gianni.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
So hope you watch Love Jones. While Darius is cooking in Love Jones.
Oh, I didn't.
What question does Nina tell him not to ask? Would you like anything else? Will you go out with me? Will you go with me? Will you marry me? Or can I get some hot sauce on that? While Darius is cooking in Love Jones, what question does Nina tell him not to ask?
Will you go with me?
Will you go with me? Incorrect. Wrong answer. The morning after their intimacy, sex, I guess, on their first date, Darius cooks up breakfast for Nina. All these years later, we still stand. I don't know. All right.
we still do. We sure do.
All right. Robbie.
Wow.
Robbie, you better hope Mel Blaine answers online for you quick. All right.
Yeah, but there's a delay, man. I'm done.
All right. How many offensive rebounds did Quincy remember Monica had in the championship game played in Love and Basketball? I know the answer to. Was that 3, 4, 9, or 11? How many offensive rebounds?
Oh, let's go
It's
with
easy,
9.
9.
It's easy. Yeah, there's 1 and 4.
Incorrect.
Nah.
Incorrect.
Wrong answer.
All right.
Quattro.
We knew it was love when Monica said this to Quincy after the school dance. I was sitting in Jason's ride with him kissing on me and feeling on me, and it was really bugging me because I couldn't remember how many offensive rebounds, how many offense boards I had in the championship. And then I guess he got tired of me and sort of accidentally kneeling him in the balls, to which Quincy replies, 4. All right. All right, Micah. I know you don't watch a ton of black rom-com movies.
Oh my God.
Which professional athlete did not make a cameo as themselves in Think Like a Man? I know you saw Think.
Oh, LeBron James. Come on, all right.
Brandon Brown,
Yeah,
LeBron
let's
James,
do-
Leslie
That's
Meta
so
World Peace.
easy.
That was an easy one. That is correct. LeBron
that was
James.
super easy. All right.
In the
Woo.
movie, 6 professional basketball players: Matt Barnes, Shannon Brown,
Mike is gonna win.
Darren Collison, Lisa Leslie, Meta World Peace. All right. Next, Yanni Storm. It's the last round. So yeah, Michael might win. Leslie Wright, played by actress Queen Latifah, is a physical therapist in Just Right, the movie Just Right. He's also the biggest fan of which NBA team that Scott McKnight plays for. Is that the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the New Jersey Nets? Another.
Damn it. Was Common in that movie? I think it was the Pistons. No, was it the Pistons? It might be Detroit. I'm just gonna go with it.
You're going with Detroit.
Pistons.
You're going with Detroit. That is
Wrong
incorrect. It was the New Jersey Nets.
Nay.
All right.
Why
All
were
right.
they in New Jersey?
This might be for the game.
Because that's where she's from.
In real life, Queen Latifah is from Newark, New Jersey, so of course the team in her movie was going to represent her hometown.
Oh,
See?
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
B Rock. In Brown Sugar, Boris Cujo played an NBA superstar, and his name was Colby Bryant.
I love Boris Kojo.
It's gotta be Colby.
Kelby
I love him.
Dawson, Drew Goodman, or Shaman James.
I know.
I don't know. Kelby Dawson.
You going with Kelby Dawson? That is correct. What?
Good job, Rob.
Correct. Boris Kojo's Kelby Dawson fell in love with Sanaa Lathan Sydney. Did she make the right choice, though? We'll
He's
never
beautiful.
know. All right. Micah, this might be for the win. All
For
right.
the win, brother, for the win.
Oh, you had to watch The Best Man. In The Best Man, Lance Sullivan is a superstar athlete for the New York Giants. What position did he play? Kicker, quarterback, running back, tight end. You know the answer.
Yeah, he played running back.
Running back. That is correct.
Yeah. Because in that series, he was like, I'm 45 years old and I want to make a comeback
Right.
as a running back. Get out of here, man.
All right, that's correct.
I
Morris
remember.
Chestnut modeled his career after Ray Lewis, especially in the film sequel. So,
Yes.
Micah, you win the game. Micah won rom-com, black rom-com. Trippy.
Tell my wife she'll be proud.
I think she will. All right, shout out to Johnny Storm.
Shout out to my best friend. She's watching us again for the second week in a row. So shout out to you. Thank you for the support.
Robbie.
Shout out to all the tinkerers and fixers. With the internet, it's so easy to learn how to repair something rather than dispose of it. It's really rewarding to fix your own stuff when it breaks. You can learn some fun skills. You can save some money.
Micah, shout out.
Nice.
Shout out to y'all, and shout out to Liz, man. I hope you feel better soon.
Aw.
Yeah, I got the same shout out to Liz. Hope you come back soon. Hope you're getting better. Oh, by the way, Mel Blaine says, that's ageism, Micah. It's ageism. Talking about running back, comeback.
That's true.
Yeah, it is ageism. I'm looking out for the elderly. Get out of here. 40-year-old running back. You get your shit
45
locked,
is
man.
the elderly.
No way.
All right, that is officially all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope you learned something, gained a new perspective, we simply had some laughs with us. We'll be back recording our podcast live next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget, check out our video clip. Subscribe to us on YouTube using TLSShow.com. And look for our official podcast episodes on Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And our winner, our final thought for the show, Micah, close us out.
Final thought.
Micah.
life is challenging. Try not to take it too seriously. Hang around your loved ones, and for God's sake, stay off of social media.
Stay off of social media.
Yes. Yes, Micah.
All right. Thank you, Robbie Raggiani, our guest host, Micah. But most importantly, we need to thank you for listening to our shenanigans each every week. Have a good one, everyone.
See ya.